Hello, it's Bobby,
And Julia.
and we're here to talk to you today about Bravecto, or its chemical fluraliner. Bravecto is a flea and tick prevention that has really taken off in the last couple of years because it's very easy.
Yeah.
You just give them one pill every 12 weeks, and that's really their pitch, is that you don't have to use it often. Um, the problem that I have with pills is, let's say you bought Advantage and you drop it on the back of your dog's neck, and it turns out that they're having a reaction. Their skin starts rashing and everything. You can wash that off and then try and stop the reaction.
Yeah.
If they took it internally, there's not a lot you can do.
You kind of just have to wait and see, and since it lasts at least 3 months, then that's a long time to just wait.
Yeah, and we've read reports where they've found the drug still in the system 6 months and sometimes even longer later. Um, it is a pesticide, which is important to note, because sometimes people make the mistake of thinking that that means that it's just poisonous to insects, but that's not true. It's just poisonous in general. That's why when you do the drops, they tell you not to touch them and then touch your mouth and things like that. They are poisonous. So the concept is basically to give them enough poison to kill the insects that bite them, but not enough poison to cause them serious harm.
Mm-hmm. And knowing that, it's dangerous to the animal, and just hoping that it's at a small enough dose, if you think about it, it doesn't really make sense, because if you're giving them this pill every 3 months, then over time it's just going to keep getting higher and higher in their bloodstream. Yeah. It's not going to completely go back down to zero, because you want them still protected at that 3 months, so it's still in their blood.
And you'll notice some of the brands have very strict sizing charts. That's why. It's not a marketing gimmick, it's because you could potentially kill an animal by overdosing them on it. So it's something that everyone's kind of come to accept, but it's a risk.
Yeah.
So back in September of 2018, the FDA actually put out a warning because they found that Bravecto and a couple of other related drugs actually they go through the brain. Some of the flea and tick preventatives have a block in them so that they don't pass through the brain.
Well, and basically, there's a mesh over your brain called the blood-brain barrier, and usually your brain is pretty good at keeping things it doesn't want in there, but Bravecto can pass right through it.
Yeah, so it can cause neurological disorders. So that's something to really be aware of if it seems like your dog's developing OCD or something like that. That can be because of the neurological effects. So we also have here, there's been class action lawsuits. This person specifically, their vet told them that the dog had meningitis and that their levels of Bravecto were dangerously high. The company offered to pay for her vet visits, but only if she signed saying that they weren't liable. So that's one of those not uncommon business practices, but shady business practices. So here we have, this is a really useful piece of information that not everyone knows that you can access. It's actually public knowledge, but this is basically a 4-year span of the reports from clinics of side effects.
Yeah.
So obviously this isn't going to be exact because it's relying on them being reported. Most people, if they're dog gets itchy skin or something like that, that's not actually going to get reported back to the FDA. They probably aren't even going to tell their vet.
And a lot of the time, if they have some kind of reaction like that, they're not necessarily going to link it to what caused it.
Yeah.
So this is actually underreporting what is out there.
But the main thing that I wanted to show was deaths. So because they have like Bobcat on here and different methods of administration, it shows it in a bunch of different spots. But you can see here's a death, another death. There's 40 deaths, 34 deaths, 2, 1, 3, 3, 358, 305, 24, 5, 2, and the list goes on. Obviously, the ones with 300 are the most common. I believe that's just like the average way a dog takes it. So you can see along here some of the other side effects. So there's things like seizures, decreased appetite, just the fact that it's ineffective for 500 people there, behavioral disorders.
Weight loss and like lack of eating is a really common one too. It's just reported in different ways.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things that you can see. Obviously, lack of efficacy seems to be a very common one. It's kind of, once again, you get kind of annoyed by how much it's split up, but you understand why they do it. They have lack of efficacy here 4 times, all of which are over 1,000, and then ineffective as well. So, I mean, we did the math a while ago, so I'm just going to cite our own article. But, so we added up all the cases of deaths in that 4-year span, and there was 783 animals reported to have died because of Bravecto and because of Flurlaner. So here you can see in a study they found that 7.1% of dogs given Bravecto had a reaction. So
it's a very high number.
Yeah, we extrapolated that, and we said, well, let's consider a population of 10,000 dogs. A town of 30,000 people would realistically have 10,000 dogs. Based on those numbers, you would have in about 490 minor reactions, 196 major side effects, and 14 deaths in an 18-month period. So what we considered a minor side effects was vomiting, diarrhea, dilated pupils, irritability, and what we called the major side effects was like lethargy, bloody stool, affecting the nervous system or cardiovascular system, things like that.
Yeah.
There was also over 7,000 reports of the drug not working. So
it seems like a really big risk to take for something that might not work.
Yeah, I believe so. If you do the math, if 14 animals die out of 10,000, that means if you go up to a city of 100,000 pets, then you're looking at 140 deaths in a year and a half. It's basically a 0.1% mortality rate, and as someone who makes a flea and tick product, I can't fathom.
Just one.
Yeah, if somebody called us and told us that 1 in a million died, it would be heartbreaking to us. So to hear that 1 in 1,000 dies, it's terrifying.
Yeah, I can't even wrap my head around why people would even take that risk.
Yeah. So we have, for example, 500 stores, a little over, selling our products. If it was 1 in 1,000, that would only require each store to sell 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's scary. So I've seen side effects from these. I've seen
There's been a couple like customers coming into our store talking about their experiences with Bravecto, and it's just we've seen it like firsthand.
the one that really sticks out in my head was a little Bichon. This was a couple years back, and she came into the store with her Bichon that she had just given Bravecto, and she said that she had told the vet that the other flea medications she had tried from the vet all really upset her dog's system, gave her terrible itchiness, and the vet said, "Oh no, Bravecto's way safer. Don't worry about it," and sold her Bravecto. Well, she came in our store, I think it was only like 10, 15 minutes later, and the dog was bright red. Like, looks like you laid out in the sun and fell asleep, kind of bright red.
Yeah.
And that poor thing must have been in so much pain. So, I understand people are afraid of fleas and afraid of ticks, and they're obviously, as someone who makes a product for it, I totally believe in preventatives. But even if you don't believe in natural medicines, even if you don't want to give a product like ours a chance, please do your research and try and find the safest company you can. Some of them, the risks are a lot lower, so try and go towards them, and just be safe.
Do we have examples on here on our article about ones that are a little bit safer?
We didn't do the math on all of them.
Oh.
We just kind of gave a breakdown. Yeah.
All right. Anything else said? Since we're gonna have to edit this stuff out anyways, because it's kind of intro. What about that puppy that came in? Remember where the person came in and said that they fed their dog Bravecto? I wasn't there, so I don't know. Yeah.
So another really important thing to talk about is when can you start giving a product like Bravecto? Do not give it to puppies and kittens. They'll probably tell you it's safe at something like 10 months or 6 months. First off, if your vet's telling you to give it and you're suspicious, ask to see the package. Have them show you where it says that's safe.
It should at least say on the package, like, don't give to an animal under this age.
Yeah, and even then, take it with a grain of salt, please. We had one customer, it was heartbreaking. She had just gotten a puppy the day before, and so she took it to the vet for, I just got a puppy, want to go do a checkup and everything. And the vet sold them, I believe it was Bravecto, but I could be wrong. And the puppy died that day. And, we have a bunch of puppies, so I can't imagine, that poor woman, what she went through. I would be distraught, to say the least.
And angry.
Yeah.
So this is why we encourage people, do your research. Look into what you're giving your dog. Don't just trust everything that anybody says.
I know sometimes we come across as, paranoid, or some of these numbers, like 0.1%, might not seem that high to you. But as people who deal with this day to day, we see it. We see it a lot. And everyone wants to feel like they're never going to be that person, that, they're never going to hit that small chance, but nobody ever does.
Yeah.
But it always happens. Yeah. So, sorry to end on a somber note.
Be careful.
Yeah, just take care of yourselves and take care of your pets.
Okay.
Bye.